The movement was begun by a scientist who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered.
They want their weapon.
Look out for Charlie.
I want that son of a bitch dead. I want him dead.
To get where we need to go in this video, we're going to have to jump through a bunch of hoops. Legal definitions are very, very vague, especially in scientific and patent information. The actual legal definitions are so vague that half the time it could be anything. For example, this is a patent for wireless real-time tongue tracking for speech impairment diagnosis. And this is a patent that I showed a long time ago, but let's pay attention to here. It says, "and placing an array of magnetic sensors around the mouth." Now, what is a magnetic sensor? Is it a little chip? Is it a little pad with a wire? Is it magnetic tattoo ink? Is it Shigella or bacterial? Is it a fungus? A magnetic sensor can be just about anything. Is it nano? Is it dust? Is it graphene? A magnetic sensor can be anything. And that's how they get away with the vagueness of these patents and in speech. Now, let's talk about space. An agency like NASA can lie to you and not be lying at the exact same time. They can say, "We are working on conquering and dominating space." Well, what is space? Well, space, a continuous area or expanse which is free, available, and unoccupied. The dimensions of height, depth, and width within which all things exist and move. So an agency can say, "We are out there conquering space," and they can mean Earth, the air, the atmosphere, everything, while the rest of the population thinks outer space and space. Somebody can lie right to you without lying to you. It's just being vague, just like a sensor. The FBI, the CIA, other agencies, as well as the military, DOD, the government, has had a close relationship with Hollywood since the beginning.
We were playing agents for the FBI in this show, and I remember I got a knock on my trailer door, and it was the second or third AD, and they said, "Stephen, we've got these rewrites." And I'm like, "What do you mean rewrites? I've already memorized, I've been through hair and makeup. I've memorized what I have to say today. Why the rewrites?" "Well, we talked to the FBI, and they've suggested these changes." So it was there and then that I realized, wow, if you mention FBI or any alphabet agency in a show or a movie, ultimately, like the alphabet agency will have last say on what the dialogue is.
And of course, the CIA will put out scripts and, so here's some suggested scripts that you can use for your movies. And if you would like any more help, we can do that for free for you. And I had a friend who worked at the Pentagon, and the Army would do the same type of thing.
And the important part there is script writing. We're going to hand you scripts. There are all kinds of technologies and things that are alluded to that weren't alluded to a decade before. One of the main things that people are guilty of is believing that things have always been like that. Oh, well, it was always like that. It never is. So let's go through some 70s horror movies, just for reference. Here we have Blood and Lace, 1971, typical creepy killer flick. Let's Scare Jessica to Death. The Thing with Two Heads. That's fantastic right there. Willard. I guess Willard #1, right? Blackula. Night of the Devils. Tower of Evil. Black Christmas. And you can just keep going and going and going. These are just like slasher flicks and psycho killers. But something changed in the 80s. 1982, 1983, 1984, and then it just progressively kept going, and it was all the same theme. And what you had was all of these creepy villains coming out of the woodwork that were interacting with you in your dreams. All these creepy dudes with, coincidentally, Germanic last names that were coming in, talking to you, interacting with you. And there is movie after movie after movie about this throughout the entire 80s. I'm talking about the hardcore, supposed to be scary 80s films. They are all about interacting with you in your dreams or even influencing events that are happening around you. And it's important to take note of this because it didn't exist in the 70s. There was a movie that came out during that period at the end of the 80s called Nightbreed that was like the epitome of all these movies put together, where this guy goes out and goes into this place where all these creatures and evil entities exist. It's just one movie after the other. And audio has a big influence on you while you are sleeping. Back when I was a kid, I would have these dreams. I would be dreaming of something and I would wake up and something would be going on the television that was influencing my dreams. One time I was sleeping and I was having a dream about jets, and I woke up and Top Gun was on cable. And it just goes to show how easily audio can influence your dreams. Now think about creating a Pavlov dog scenario where you psychically drive somebody every night to go through scenarios. What if you said a name and then the ring of a bell every night at 3 a.m.? You could get somebody to have a recurring dream about the same person over and over because they would equate that sound with the memory of the dream they had. After a while, you've done this every night, 365 days a year, for 5 years. You could literally loop somebody's dreams to the point where they are dreaming basically the same things every night. Sounds crazy. I mean, who would want to do that, right? Now, here's the kicker. I've been telling people for years and years that they are messing with people in their sleep every night, the entire night, 6, 8, 9 hours, however long they sleep, from the time they hit the pillow and fall asleep till the time they wake up. They are being bombarded with sound. Their dreams are not their own. And, somebody might think, wow, that is way out there. See, I don't like to theorize on this channel. I also don't like to use mainstream media sources because it's usually bullshit. But they have had this technology, just like Voice of God weapons. They always act like they are on the cusp of Voice of God weapons. This is the same thing. It just happens while you're sleeping. And it does the exact same thing. But when you're asleep, you can't escape it. And everybody is susceptible to it. Wacky theory that I've been talking about on this channel for a long time. Scientists entered people's dreams and got them talking. Dreaming experiments involved real-time conversations between sleepers and scientists. Now they're trying to get you accustomed to the idea that they're on the cusp of learning about this. But I assure you that this technology has been being used in ELF wave format and electromagnetic format for decades. Funny how when you're digging in the right spots, you can just find something like this that backs up everything that you're talking about. They're doing it. So what's somebody going to say? They're not doing it? Because they're saying that they're doing it. I probably have 400 different recordings from different people sent to me of them sleeping at night to get a base reading of what's going on from all different places, from houses in subdivisions to farmhouses to apartments. It's always the same. This is a farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere. And I want you to hear what is going on at 5 in the morning. When you play the original recording back, with a little bit of boosting and a little bit of tweaking, you can hear this trucking along at a whisper level. This is psychic driving that affects people in their sleep, and it can manipulate your dreams, and it can argue with you all day and night if it wants to, or it could say terrible things about your spouse or terrible things about a loved one or whoever. It's mind manipulation. You have to remember that. So here we go. Check this out. So, the same voices that I've heard 1,000 times in other recordings. In a farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere. The exact same pulsed communication. These are pulsed waves coming through, monotone, droning on and on. I'm just going to show you one more. This is from a house in the suburbs. Same kind of thing. Except it's more ELF based. Now let's go to that real quick. Voices. It's undeniable. So yes, this technology is affecting everybody in their sleep. But what am I getting at with all this? Within the past few years, a lot of videos have been coming out showing 2 moons in the sky, 2 suns. And what I believe that is, it's very simple. It's, there's so many particles in the air and in the sky now that we are getting these reflections. I've seen the sun do this before. I have photos of it, like it looks like a double sun. And it's just it's an optical illusion. But you can see these videos that people have taken of 2 moons. There's 2 moons there, and you can clearly see 2 moons. But one is a reflection, the other one is real. And you'll see the double suns, the double moons. Well, there's a great psyop going on, because thousands and thousands of people are suddenly dreaming the exact same thing. Now that is success. What if you could have everybody dream about Taco Bell or Home Depot or some water park in Walla Walla, Washington? The possibilities are endless. So all these people are dreaming about 2 moons, and more than half of them think it's a sign in the dream. They believe it's a sign that Jesus is coming back. Now think about this. For real, think about this. So I've edited this down, but I need you to understand the extent that this is happening to people. So here we go.
Like that. Like I don't know if you can see that. Like that's the regular moon, and that's like the second moon. So the very next night, my mom had a dream about 2 moons.
And I see a huge moon, like a harvest moon, when it's bigger than normal.
And we were all like looking at the sky, and in the sky was a moon. This other moon came out of nowhere and came up beside it.
I noticed something really weird about the sky. Right in front of me, there was a purple moon, and to the side, there was a blue moon.
Which it was still daylight, and so not only our moon, but 2 more. All 3 were full.
There are 2 moons. There are 2 white moons, they're just there.
So I'm looking up at the sky, and I see 2 suns in the sky, and a crescent moon. And then it turned into 2 moons, and I seen the crescent moon.
And I couldn't believe what I saw, so I looked up in the sky,
and I saw two moons. I saw two big, huge moons.
I was looking at the sky, and I saw two moons. One looked real, the other one looked fake.
We noticed the moon, but we also noticed what looked like a second moon.
First of all, the moon was really big, and there was a second moon in the sky.
And all of a sudden I see two moons. Okay, two moons.
It was just kind of a random dream where all I just saw were two moons in the sky.
Two moons, there's two suns. It was very, very dark, and then like everything was fading into the light area where the suns were.
And we noticed that there were two moons in the sky.
And as we were talking, I looked up in the sky.
Do you realize that this is statistically impossible? Dreams are not supposed to be these psychedelic revelation trips all the time that they've turned into for people now. Either people don't dream at all, which is totally weird, or they have these crazy, tripped out revelation dreams.
And I saw two huge moons. They were directly beside each other.
I looked up beyond my neighbor's house at the moon, and I looked over beside it, and I was like, that's the real moon. That's not the moon, that's the moon. And this moon was doing something real weird, and it was like freaking me out. And you guys, I've dreamt about two moons so many times, and when I did, it was 99% of the time I was like, oh my gosh, two moons, it means Jesus is getting ready to come back.
All of a sudden, it's like something told me to look up. I looked up, and I said, wait a second. There was two moons. Two.
And at first, I just saw these two moons, and I dreamt of two moons before.
And when we came out, and there were two large moons in the sky.
The sun is gone, the eclipse is gone, and there are two full moons identical side by side.
So I saw this outline, and it was like two moons. They were side by side.
And all of a sudden I looked up through the trees, and I saw this bright white moon. It was so big, it was a full moon, and it was all white. And then I looked up a little further, and boom, there's another white full moon. It was like a really clear white with a little yellow in it, and it was full.
This is so easy that it is possible by simply looping hundreds of voices all night long, generic voices saying, look, there's two moons in the sky. Look, there's two moons in the sky. Just looping and looping. At some point, your brain is going to catch it. This is a psychic driving, a real-time dream manipulation experiment to see if they can get everybody having the same dream, or enough people having the same dream to where if this happens, which it is happening, all they have to do is cause the reflection, and you'll have a bunch of people thinking that Jesus is coming back. Whatever they've conjured up in their minds from the feelings that they got in these induced dreams that have literally been psychically driven like Top Gun to happen in their heads. And that is exactly what is happening here. Here's a question. Why do we see two moons in the sky sometimes? From David Fuller is, not quite sure I understand the question. I've been an avid amateur astronomer for over 25 years, and I've never once seen two moons in our night sky. The only moon we see in our night sky naked eye is Earth's moon. So that is what is supposed to be happening. But people are seeing two moons. And now people are dreaming about it. So do you understand the correlation here? And the correlation with the fact that science is now admitting that they are breaking into people's dreams and talking to them and having conversations with them? You know what else this is great for? Interrogation. Interrogation while you sleep. You name it, it can be done because you spend 6 to 12 hours sleeping every night. Now imagine being bombarded with arguing from your spouse for 8 to 12 hours every night. You wouldn't even want to talk to them while you were awake. You would just be so stressed out. You wouldn't know why, really, but you would just be over them and want to get away from them. This is a powerful, powerful weapon. And you have to understand just the raw ability that this has. We've talked about this many, many times on this channel, but they hide this technology in the supernatural, in horror films, in all kinds of things, so that if it happens to somebody and somebody experiences it, just like Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunters, you don't immediately think technology or something logical. You immediately think witch doctor, witches, ghosts, demons, ghoulies, whatever. One of the best examples of this is Pet Sematary, the first Pet Sematary. From 1989, there is a character named Victor Pascal. He is the thread that ties the entire movie together because he is influencing people while they are awake and while they are asleep.
I'm sorry, it's been very busy. I really don't have anything.
What about the Aries K? The one with the scratch on its side?
I do have an Aries K, but it came in rather beat up, and there's a long scrape up one side. I'll take it. Okay, major credit card and a license.
His character is great. It's just fantastic because he is nudging these people. Now, I'm intentionally using crappy versions of these movie clips so that I don't get the hammer. But I'm going to show you this clip, and then I'm going to show you something about it that I bet no one has ever pointed out, ever.
You said you were dreaming.
Listen here. This is one of the most important parts. As he is waking up, his family laughing and playing is a tuning frequency, and he is tuning in to his family out of the realm. Right? So it sounded like kids just laughing, but when you listen to it, it is a radio tuning at the same time. That is one of the most important parts of that movie, and it is completely hidden. Imagine millions of people spending 8 hours, 12 hours a night being bombarded by this, and then spending the day scoffing at the idea of things like this. It's the perfect weapon.